We are the music makers, and we are the dreamers of dreams.
Hey! We're recording the podcast! Shut up! Good morning to you, wherever you are, because it is for June 28th, 2024. My name is Bertie Burns, sitting right over there. She beat Medicare, everybody. She beat it. It's
You're welcome.
Ashley Burns,
God.
everybody. Hey, it's Ashley over there.
So, welcome to Friday, everybody.
Yeah, welcome to Friday. It's Friday, everybody. Or as we like to call it, 5 minutes to midnight for American democracy.
The doomsday clock ticks one little second further, and here we go.
This is the podcast where we don't talk about politics.
Yeah, and we will do our best not to dwell on it. But the presidential debate was last night. I don't know if they're going to have more than one of these things at this point.
It was neither presidential nor a debate. Discuss.
Yes, go right ahead. So both Trump and Biden got on camera to have a debate last night, and I feel like
they stood up the whole time.
They did. So they've got that going for them. So I'm glad to be where I am. I will say that.
CNN hosted the presidential. Is this the first and only? I hope. Or
Let me look
just
that
the
up.
First of many presidential debates last night. That was not a great showing. That was not a fun thing to watch. We got to watch it this morning, and we had. I think our reaction, Ashley, is the one that a lot of people have, which is just sitting there. There was a picture I saw of a woman watching it, and she just had her hands covering her mouth, and that was it. And it's like that woman.
I feel a lot like that.
Speaking for all of us.
Well,
right
the
now.
good news, Bernie, is
The
good news is that they are getting in on the Disney philosophy that the only thing people love more than a good time is a sequel to a good time. There is going to be more debate. It looks like they're going to have a rematch in September after both candidates formally accept their party's nomination.
Okay. I feel like the Biden camp is pushing for these too. Like, I feel like right after the Trump conviction, there was all this talk about the Biden camp challenging Trump to a debate, and he was going to try to weasel out of it. Do you remember that stuff?
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh, you can already see Trump's trying to get out of the debate. I don't think the Biden camp should be pushing for more debates.
I don't think they should either. I don't think this was a great showing for the Democratic Party last night.
But what do you do if the poll numbers are not showing you winning? You got to do something, right?
Right, but I don't think this was the winning move.
Right, and I don't think either one of them looked good, especially on paper. I think one of them in particular looked really bad on camera, right?
I would agree with that, yes.
And we're not a paper world anymore. Like, there does seem to be the debate right now, with everybody breaking everything down after the fact, that Biden looked odd, old, and barely coherent.
It was the confirmation of Biden's worst critics.
Which is the thing everyone can see, right?
Right.
The headline for Trump is Trump's lying.
Which everyone also already knows.
You see one on camera, you don't see the other. You don't see, unless you know the facts already. So you got to convince people of the second one, right? And there's the other thing too. Politician lying is not a headline. It's not, especially for Trump in particular.
Unfortunately, yes. Yeah, I would say you're right with that.
I mean, seriously, politician lying to voters. It's like that's the trope. You know what I mean? It's like a meme.
It is.
This was so. I think overall, I think this was a bad debate for Biden, and I hope they don't have a second one.
So my condolences to our friends in the U.S. It's not a great time. And I don't think it's going to be a much easier time going towards November.
Yeah.
And I don't really have a solution, but this is why we're not really a politics podcast.
And I know there's people, like, we're not making flippant jokes about this. We watched some breakdowns by a lot of different groups. Watched one by The Daily Show, who I think has a burden to try to make it accessible by making it humorous. I'm not feeling super humorous about this, And there's a lot of people who feel like democracy is hanging in the balance. When I watch that thing, it's like, what are we talking about when we talk about democracy? This is it. We got to vote for one of these two guys. And for now, the third election in a row, that's 12 years of presidency. I'm being told on a regular basis, I got to vote for this guy because if I don't, then this guy will win and everything will burn to the ground. You know what I mean? It's like, how long do you need to get somebody in there? You know, how long do you need to build up a candidate that can run against anybody at all? You know,
right? And also, it feels like the philosophy of like you need to vote against this person is not necessarily the healthiest for democracy either. I can tell you this, Bernie. The Japanese yen is at an all-time low.
Now we're talking.
Go on vacation. Just go to Japan.
Till 2032. Yeah, so the Japanese yen has now hit a 38-year low against the U.S. dollar.
38-year? Wow.
Yeah, so it's $1, actually, one greenback, $1 as they call it, will now get you 160 yen. I don't really know what prices for things are in Japan right now. But that's incredibly low. It's the lowest it's been since the mid-'80s.
Right. So we're going to need at some point to do like a sandwich economy analysis of the yen.
Like our Swedish sandwich economy? JD and I took a trip to Sweden to go visit Mojang. I think we talked about this on the podcast before, and we couldn't figure out how much a Swedish kroner was worth because they weren't on the euro. And so when we got off the airplane, we bought an airport sandwich, and I want to say that was something like 60 kroner or something like that. And that sandwich became the basis for our currency conversions. It was the basis for us for the entire Swedish economy. Like, oh, well, this dinner is 3 sandwiches. That seems appropriate. So.
Like, I mean, it's important to set a baseline, right?
Yeah.
For within this local economy, what is the cost of a thing?
I was not teaching my young son valuable lessons on traveling internationally. But it was put in terms that a kid could understand, so that was great.
Right, like this dinner's 3 sandwiches. There you go.
And currency, rates of currency versus each other they're fascinating. Like we got introduced to this when we moved to a different country because the exchange rate between the U.S. dollar or greenback or buck, as they call it, versus the pound sterling. By the way, can I say another thing?
You may.
We should just call it the sterling and not call it the pound because when you go to the butcher and it's like, how much meat do I buy? Buy 5 pounds of meat. It's like, what does that mean? Do I buy 5 pounds?
5 pounds worth of meat?
It's just like, come on. Was there a point at which it was weight of? Anyway, I'm not going to get one of the
Getting
many
into the etymology.
One of the many things in the UK that's like, but that's different. Like you understand it if you understand.
But that's different.
This is the if you know culture. That's what this is, and we're in the middle of it, and we don't know all the time.
all the time. But
currency exchanges are interesting.
We're learning here and there.
Like when we moved here, we moved here right at the start of COVID, like right at the beginning of the whole thing. We were purchasing this property. And once again, that 38-year low came into play because the pound was at a 34-year low for us versus the dollar. And it was like the people we bought the property didn't care, that the dollar was worth more. There's a weird thing that happens in global crises. Everyone flees to the dollar. As much as people make fun of America and their presidential candidates, when the shit hits the fan, people tend to flee to the dollar.
Right. It's seen as the safe haven currency.
Safe haven, that's it. Yeah. And so that was COVID. So that was starting to happen in March of 2020, which is when after a 2-year, 3-year search, we had settled on this place and we were going to be moving here. And we thought the seller was going to back out. They thought we were going to back out because this COVID flu was going everywhere. I say that because that's what everyone was calling it at the time. But the crazy thing about it was the pound dropped by like 30%, right? Or something like that, 25%, we calculated. And we were like, go, 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 because it's basically like getting 25% off for us. They were getting exactly what they wanted for the place. Everyone got a great deal and nobody lost.
Nobody lost anything in that exchange, which
aside
was
from
really
the global
nice.
Pandemic fallout. Aside from that.
Well, it's minor details.
That's the one person they could put up on stage. Like the guy who let COVID out of the lab. Maybe that guy couldn't win against these guys for president. They ever find that guy and he runs, he's like, hey, I let COVID out of the lab, but you guys all got to work from home. So we all wanted it. I made it happen. I'm the guy. Jesus Christ.
Maybe that's the sci-fi person we were talking about yesterday who's like, you gotta break a few eggs to make an omelet.
Yeah.
We wanted to work from home. We got there.
God damn.
There was a cost.
And it's always in these situations too. Honestly, I don't think anyone's happy. I think everyone's kind of in a panic about the state of America. Like everyone seems to think it's headed in a bad direction, but in different directions. You know what I mean? This is the point in time when you think a third-party candidate could come in and do things, but it's the one point in time when everyone's too scared to vote for a third-party candidate. But if not now, when? You're going to do it when everything's fine? You're going to go, okay, now let's change things up.
Right. Now we're all feeling comfortable, so let's go ahead and re-examine all this. That's not, unfortunately, how it works.
So whoever you are out there, there's somebody out there thinking about running for president. This is it.
Some glowing specimen of lucidity.
I mean, that's a great way to put it. I mean, today's the day. Like, this is the day. Like, just go. I'm coming out with whatever my platform is. I don't know what would be the perfect third party.
All right, let's hold on. We're putting a platform together for you. Fight the planet.
Exactly. We're going to declare war on the planet.
It's not, this isn't addressing climate change. This is the war on the planet.
Right.
We're fighting the planet. And let's see, what else can we throw in there in the platform?
Stop arms sales to other countries, but then people like that because it says, you got to say everything in a way that appeals to everybody. We're going to keep all the weapons ourselves, right? We're keeping all of our weapons for us. American weapons for Americans.
America strong.
So that we can fight the planet.
That's right. We're just going to start shooting the clouds.
And sorry I let COVID out of the lab, but vote for me. Jesus Christ. God, what are we doing, man? What are we doing? Yeah. Well, look, and it's an important election. It's always an important election, but it's an important election because there's more Supreme Court justices that are due, and it's just like, I don't know. It's interesting. The VP debate will be interesting as well.
I agree. I agree. And I'm sure we'll see a lot more of this.
I would argue the VP debate got a lot more interesting last night. Now suddenly it's like, I'm more curious about the VP debate.
You mean because of the implication?
Yeah.
Well, if you need to distract yourself a little bit from the world, Bernie, I have just the thing for you. The Steam Summer Sale has started, so you have a brand new opportunity to buy steeply discounted games that you're not going to play.
This is a tough time for the Japanese customers on Steam because they're buying American products from the lower end. That's tough. You're
going to be paying extra dollars for the out of early access 7 Days to Die.
There's a new Steam game that I want to play where you have to beat Medicare. Sorry. Okay, I'm off it.
This is how we're coping, okay? This is how we're coping. But no, the Steam Summer Sale has started.
I feel like that Dave Chappelle meme where I'm like, y'all got any more of that reality as a simulation thing? Could go for some of that, man.
I'm excited because did you see there was a headline that went around a few days ago saying that there's $19 billion worth of games in Steam libraries that have gone unplayed?
I did see that.
So this is an interesting thing. It's not accurate. It's like a very fuzzy ballpark figure, right? This came out of I think PC Games N, saying that they looked at like 10% of the Steam user database. You have to basically, for anyone to see it, you had to have your library set to public, and most people don't. But so they looked at like 10% of the overall Steam user base, looked at the games in their library, put the value on those games, and then just multiplied by 10 and came up with this $19 billion figure. So it is fuzzy. But what they're saying...
I mean, it's not an important economic number. It's just for fun, right?
What they're saying is, that's a lot of unplayed games.
Yeah, that's enough.
And that number is just going to go up over the next couple of weeks.
I think because it's not public record what you paid for the game.
Right.
And I don't know about you, Ash, but there's a lot of games I bought because they were like $1. And I thought, okay, here's how it works for me. I'll tell you how it works for me.
Okay.
So there's a game that comes up. You get this little queue on Steam where it takes you through 12-ish games that you might like. And it tells you why it was recommended to you. And it's like, here, it's $2, but we're recommending this to you because you like Skyrim. It's like, I did like Skyrim. That's great. So I'll buy this game for $2. And then it starts downloading. And then I go, I should really play Skyrim again. And then I play Skyrim and don't play the game that I bought.
No, it does happen. It does happen. But, and this is how we end up with all this. But I find that the way that I add to my Steam pile of shame has changed a lot.
Shame
over the years, because it used to be that during the Steam sale, this is before Steam implemented its current refund policy. They had the sale, of course, but then there would also be these flash sales where every like 4 hours they would have a certain number of games that were like super duper crazy discounted, right? And it might not get discounted this steeply again during the sale. So if you want it, you better get it now. And so it was very it was very much this like feeding frenzy of energy during the Steam sales. It's like you're always like checking, you want to check in, you want to see what's on the, and then you might like wait on other things until the very end because they might come up on the sale. And
FOMO
now,
is a highly weaponized marketing tool.
It really was. And now when Steam implemented their refund, they had to kind of do away with that because otherwise people would be like, oh, well, I just paid too much for this. I'm going to refund it and buy it again at this deeper discount. And that was probably,
How many people could that possibly be, though?
Probably a lot, actually.
Really? You think so?
I think so. I think so.
Gamers are savvy shoppers like that?
I mean, apparently we're spending $19 billion, give or take, on games that we don't play, so no. I don't know for sure that's why they changed the way that the Steam sales work, but I think that's the case. That's my personal harmless conspiracy theory. And so, now the game goes on sale, and I'll just check in like once or twice during the entire sale and pick up something.
I feel like I'm like out of the know for those things. Like I'm out of the loop now. I used to know exactly when those things are taking place. And now I feel like I never know when they're happening.
Yeah, I mean, someone will be like, it started, and then I have a couple weeks, and it's like I don't have to anticipate. I don't need to check in quite as closely anymore.
Where are you right now? Is there anything like you're playing right now? Is there anything that you waited to play because you wanted to get a little better, a little more stable?
No, I am playing a new game. So as you know, I am a fiend for Stardew Valley. We've talked in the past about like games that we go back to repeatedly, and that's a comfort game for me. But I've also played it so many times now that I get in that mood for like I want something like that, but not that exactly.
Yeah, sure.
And the developer's next game, Haunted Chocolatier, doesn't have a release date or anything yet, so I'm still waiting. So I'm playing a game called Sunhaven, which has a lot of the elements that I love about Stardew Valley, and it's even pixel art, all that stuff is great, but it's got like a lot more. It's more like fantastical, if that makes sense. For example, I'm a demon running my farm.
Oh, okay. As one does. Are you growing
I'm a demon who moved to the farm.
Are you growing evil plants?
No, they're normal plants.
Really? You're not growing like evil plans or like conspiracies or something like that?
I'm growing eggplant.
The seeds for a scheme that you're laying, that you're plowing for. All that demon stuff that demons love to do. Well,
evil seeds.
Well, go spend a shitload of money on Steam and then don't play the games forever.
Look, it's or you know what, or do. It's a nice way to maybe escape from reality, which I feel like more of us could use just at the moment.
No, I get it. I get it. And since we were talking earlier about like changing economies and currencies and stuff like this, I read this really crazy article on IndieWire where now the benchmark for whether or not a streaming service can be sustainable is 200 million subscribers.
Man, that is a lot of subscribers.
That's a lot of subscribers.
I mean, who has surpassed that at this point? I would say Netflix, of course. And then I would say maybe Amazon. But Amazon's a weird one because their like Prime Video is also tied to like Prime shipping and stuff. So if you have an Amazon Prime account, you don't necessarily have it for just video, but that Prime account seems to subsidize everything.
Yeah. The thing about Amazon, this is completely unrelated to streaming services. This is Amazon does everything. It's crazy to me how Amazon changed everyone's opinion of how much shipping should cost.
Oh, wildly.
It set it completely unrealistic. Now when I go and I like go to buy something, like I've talked before about these Instagram ads I get served, and a lot of times I go look at it because it's like a cool new product or whatever. And it's like every time I see it, it's like, oh, this is $13 to ship this thing? What the hell's going on? Amazon has completely, in more so than just taking away business from the small businesses and selling the products, it has really changed the way that small independent people can ship because people are like, why would I pay you $13 to ship it? Just ship it to me for free. It should be free.
Right. It should be included.
Right. And I think small businesses are just going to have to react by building in their shipping costs into the price of their items.
I think a lot of them are. And you'll also find occasionally on Amazon, people are so used to shopping on Amazon and they just assume that that's the best deal, right?
Right.
But if you find something, you can sometimes go to the product's website and find it's cheaper.
Right.
But once you add in the shipping cost, oh, look, now they're the same.
Like, say you want a presidential candidate. Just go to wish.com. Select anybody at the top. Because apparently that's what we're doing now. I'm sorry. It's not a political podcast for a Friday. Well, good luck to everybody as we head into the weekend. If you're disappointed in what you saw in the U.S. presidential debates last night, we don't even live in the country, and we were disappointed. And I know a lot of people are looking at it. A lot of people look to America, like we talked about, Ashley, with the dollar being a safe haven. I think a lot of people look to America, whether they realize it or not, as an indication of the overall global mood, if that makes sense. You know,
it does.
They can set things like an Amazon with shipping or something like that. Not necessarily in good ways, but we recognize that there's the ability for American culture to do that for a lot of different people, whether we want them to or not. And so I think a lot of people, and it's okay to feel this way, are a little depressed today about what they saw yesterday.
I would expect so.
It wasn't great, and I don't want to head into the weekend on a bad note. But listen, here's my recommendation: after work today, sit down, just start working on your platform. And listen, I'll vote for you. Ashley, will you vote for them?
Yeah, look, we've already got it halfway done for you.
Whoever you are, I'm going to vote for you. Just, it could be our Patreon sponsors today. Who are we voting for?
All right, so today, we're going to vote for Ethan Eppelman and the 15th beer at Chili's.
Is that really?
Those are our sponsors for today.
Ethan and Chili's Beer 2024. That's our ticket.
Thank you both for agreeing to run for president and for sponsoring this episode of Morning Somewhere at patreon.com/Morning Somewhere.
We got to keep Ethan safe. We can't have that beer from Chili's running the whole nation. The beer from Chili's can't be have their finger on the button.
That's our main platform now.
Oh my God. All right. Well, I encourage you to have a great weekend. We will be back on Monday to talk to you. We hope you'll be here as well.
Bye, everybody.